Good morning. This is Heather Blackman in Vail Village, and you can see, I think the snow is starting to come down or is continuing to come down. A little bit of snow overnight, and it keeps coming. Not too cold out here, though, either. So it's kind of a nice day. Some spring snow, and we have so much going on this week. Easter egg hunts, Pilar performances. We're going to tell you all about it as we get rolling on the show. Vail Valley Live starts right now.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Vail Valley Live. I'm Trisha Swenson here in our studios at Grand Hyatt Vail. We just saw Heather Blackman out in Vail Village in a rather snowy scene, a wintry scene for Tuesday, April 4th, but that is very typical. We have quite a bit of fluctuations between temperatures and our sunny skies and our really snowy days. So we're gonna go with that. That's kind of what we deal with here in the springtime. But thanks for joining us bright and early this morning. It is pretty cloudy out there right now. You might feel like staying in bed for a little bit longer, and we'll let you. You know what? There's no rush to get out there right now. Today we do open the lifts at 8:30 at both Vail and Beaver Creek. They stay open until 4 o'clock on the front side on Vail Mountain and 4 o'clock on Main Mountain over at Beaver Creek. So Centennial, Haymeadow, and as well as Strawberry Park, they'll stay open until 4, and then Arrowhead and Batcher Gulch, they do close at 3:30. So if you have any questions about kind of some of the closings, put them in the chat. We have the chat for you. It's available on YouTube and Facebook. We want you to like us on Facebook and then seek us out on YouTube. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, set the alerts, and you'll be ready to watch us whenever we go live. Now, we do want to remind you that Arrowhead does close this weekend. So something to just keep in mind out there if you're going to be wanting to head out and about. It's going to be your last weekend. Easter Sunday will be the last day. Let's get you some weather details right now and find out what we can expect. So we're going to see this weather brought to you by the outlets at Silverthorne. Today's forecast, we're going to reach into just above the freezing mark, 33 degrees, just one above a degree above 32, the freezing mark. 21 is what we're at right now. Up on the mountain, a bit colder, single digits, 9 at Beaver Creek and 9 over at Vail. This will warm up kind of slowly as the afternoon goes on, but it'll still be pretty cool this morning. So quite a difference from yesterday when we were well into the 40s by the afternoon. We could see another 1 to 3 inches today and maybe another 1 to 2 overnight. We are in a winter weather advisory still, and that'll go until 9 p.m. this evening. Now for tomorrow, we still have a chance of that moisture coming through. Maybe even a little bit of thunder snow is what they call it when you actually are out there and you're like, did I just hear thunder? Yeah, that's a typical springtime phenomenon. So tomorrow, the temperature will be a little bit cooler, only mid 20s for your Wednesday, April 5th, and then 10 degrees overnight. And then by Thursday and into Friday, we're going to see that sunshine return. By Friday, look at that, 49 degrees. So that'll be a really nice day for the mountaintop picnic. That is going to be part of Taste of Vail. They bring everyone up to the top of Eagle's Nest, and from noon to 2:30, you get to sample as much as you can. They've got all sorts of restaurants up there cooking up little dishes, and then wine samples and other drinks. Sometimes they'll bring up a few other things like a spritzer or even some sparkling water, just to kind of cleanse your palate in between everything. But then look at the overnight low on Friday. Look at that, it's a 47-degree dip from 49 for your daily high to 2 degrees above zero. So it is going to be pretty chilly. And then Saturday, even warmer into the low 50s, but then 20s overnight. So we'll have to talk about that freeze thaw syndrome that will be happening as we roll into the weekend. Now, new snow, we did get 4 inches new at the Beeve and 4 over at Vail. So a lot of that happened while you were sleeping. We could get another 2 today, another 2 on Wednesday, and then just maybe a lingering inch on Thursday. Thursday. So it's really cool to see just how much snow that we've received in this season alone. We're well into the 300s, low 300s, but we'll take it. Our average for Vail is 354, so I think we have got about 21 more inches to see if we can get that before we close things down on April 23rd. Now, a lot of people ask me, like, Trisha, are we extending the mountain? Once again, what we've heard is no, we're not going to extend the mountain. I just had someone ask me that, Leah, when I was out doing the report on Friday. They're like, well, I thought I read someplace. You heard it here. We're not extending. If that changes, we'll gladly report it, but we just don't want people to think that that's happening. Vail is set to close on the 23rd, and Beaver Creek is set to close on the 16th. But let's take a look outside and see where Heather is right now. And snow is accumulating already on your hair, on your hat, on your hood.
Oh, yeah.
So it is still coming down.
Yeah, I mean, they're smaller flakes. They're not those big, giant ones that you see sometimes. But I think it's pretty decent. Like you said, my hair is kind of covered. That always attracts it. So that definitely happens. And looking around, I don't know if you can see kind of on the bench behind me, but definitely a couple of inches there. So there's snow out here. I was saying from the reports I was reading this morning, I was kind of surprised when I walked out of the parking deck and saw the snow. So
I know. Yeah, and it's just coming down. It's all beautiful. The trees are all flocked. The
yeah.
mountain's a little obscured, little visibility.
Yep.
Visibility could be an issue today, so I definitely recommend wearing a goggles with the lighter lens if you have a choice of that. And we could see some gusty winds again today, and that's always a good indicator of like where you should ski. And I think a lot of times Northwoods is good. That's a little protected.
Yeah.
If you are set to go in the back, I would do Blue Sky Basin versus the back bowls just because of the visibility. The
Agreed.
back bowls are so exposed. But and then over at Beaver Creek,
They get swept off a little bit as well. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And at Beaver Creek, you've got pretty good visibility on pretty much everywhere. There's really no back bowls at the Beeve. But yeah, just stay kind of near the tree line, and that helps give you some definition. But what a contrast to our beautiful weekend. And both you and I were out there. Heather, I had one of the best couple of runs of the season just on these soft serve ice cream groomers in
Oh yeah.
Roseville and Larkspur on Sunday. It was kind of a short window. Then I got mashed potato-y later on, and then I decided to call it a day. But tell us about your weekend, and we got some footage too.
Yeah, yeah, Saturday. So I will say, as much as I was talking about skiing on Friday last week, it did not materialize because it was so gusty and windy. But Saturday was gorgeous. So my husband and dog and I, you can see them both right there, headed to
Yep.
Meadow Mountain to do a little split boarding. So that's us kind of going uphill, and the snow was fantastic. You kind of never know. It's a little bit sketchy this time of year. Sometimes you get really great conditions. You can see we're breaking trail. It was
Yeah.
very fresh. And as even going down, tiny little bit of kind of crispy up top, which kind of keeps the underneath even a little bit better. So going down was just smooth and lovely. And it's actually perfect for dogs. This is a no avalanche risk area. So we always bring our dog, and easy for her to get traction going downhill. And she just likes to sprint. So as you
Oh, I
kind of saw in
bet.
that photo,
Oh yeah, an entire amount.
very, very fun.
Yeah, and we want to remind people that, hiking trails and Meadow Mountain, that's a good place to take your dog. You're not allowed to bring the dog
Yes.
anytime on Vail or Beaver Creek, Arrowhead, Batcha Gulch, any of those. Even when the mountain's closed, no
Yep.
dogs are allowed at any of those locations. And you need to be off the mountain 15 minutes before we open and wait till about 30 minutes after they close before you can get up there. But with the daylight hours being so long, it is a little bit easier to do that now in the afternoon and maybe see a nice sunset and
Yeah,
everything. So that's just a few tips for anyone that's going to go out skinning or hiking or snowshoeing before or after the mountain closes.
absolutely. And definitely, if you're going to go more into kind of the backcountry off the resort, just having good, smart education is always a really good idea. Hey, these are dangerous sports if you don't necessarily know what you're doing. So taking that education, taking that extra time, very well worth it so that you get to do this for years to come.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Heather, I know you had a busy weekend, but did you make it over here for the wonderful event we had for Michaela Schifrin?
Oh, yes. Wouldn't miss it. I mean, how many times do you get to celebrate a local hero who has smashed a 34-year record. We were here. So,
Yes, I know. It was such a nice program that they did. And I loved how she came in and she had that Adidas coat, that faux fur baby blue
yes.
Adidas. And then all the stars, there was 88 stars on the walkway. And what that indicated were all of her World Cup wins, where they happened, what date. So talk about a race, a walk down memory lane. And then they had people on the sideline. She's high-fiving. She's got a Barilla hat on as well. So just really cool to see her. And people did want to come out for it, and they did want to just be a part of this and say how proud we are of her. And just a great shot. Look at that. People came out in full force. That's going down towards the International Bridge. Joe Bianchi, Terry Armstead, a brother-sister duo, they sang a beautiful version of the national anthem. And then Doug Lewis was the MC for this. He's an Olympian himself, downhiller. He was on the ski team years ago. And he calls a lot of her races. He's announcing many of the World Cup races. This was Lieutenant Governor Primavera, and she was reading the proclamation from Governor Jared Polis, which called March 11th, the day she broke that record. They called that Michaela Schifrin Day in Colorado. So she got that little proclamation. And then all sorts of town officials, that's Matt Shear from Eagle County, they gave her a belt buckle. Town of Minturn gave her a lifetime membership to the Minturn Fitness Center, which a lot of the Ski and Snowboard Club Vail kids go to. And then this little thing, it was a skier statue built out of railroad ties. So kind of a fun little thing for the town of Minturn. So all the different towns gave her little prizes. And then these skis, they were indicative of all of her different records. There's Sarah Will right there. That was Karen Gent. Mike Brown just before that. So they all had a different record or an accomplishment and kind of the number of how many. This is Alice McInnes, teammate. Thomas Walsh, really good friends with Michaela, of course. They went to kindergarten together. I think they went to prom together. Johnny Mosley was still in town because he was here for the Can-Do MS, and he was able to stick around for a little bit. And then Oksana Masters, just a master as far as Paralympics are concerned. She's won medals in so many different things. But there we go. We got Michaela on stick. We've got the flags. And plenty of people brought signs. Did you get an autograph?
I did not get an autograph, and I'm a little shorter. So I was definitely having to squeeze between people to see. But it was a really cool event. And you could just tell how humble she is, just kind of watching her facial expressions. And the montage where they showed all of her races together that they played on the video screen was also really cool, just to kind of see
Oh,
the
yeah.
progression. And how it just puts in perspective 88, right? Like that's a lot of races to have won.
Over like a decade. It's just amazing. And
Yeah.
I think her percentage of winning is about 35%, which is kind of just unheard of. There's so many things that need to go
Oh,
right in all of those races, whether it is a speed event or a technical event. I used to always think, oh, I wonder if the technical events are easier. Well, not really, because you've got to get around each and every gate, and if you straddle a gate or do anything wrong, you're DNF'd, you're out of there. So it's just kind of crazy. But what's really cool? Did you hear her when she said, we are so lucky to live here. We've got the best skiing,
yes.
we've got the best summer activities, we've got the best health care. And, she's been so lucky that she hasn't really had a lot of injuries for as successful as her career has been. But you know what? I mean, what's really nice is that a lot of these docs that are in the valley, they are the doctors for the U.S. skiing,
Right.
snowboard, and Nordic, and all these teams. They get tapped to go overseas to help out or go to the Olympics. So let's
Yeah.
find out a little bit more about these doctors. I know Dr. Starrett, he's been involved with these athletes for a long time. So we're going to do a little part on our show called Ask the Doctor, and we're going to find more from Dr. Starrett with Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery.
My name is Dr. Bill Starrett. I'm with Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery. So I'm just going to she put a whole bunch of questions in here. I'm going to pull one out and see what it says. I hear so much about females and their ACL injuries. Why do female athletes have so many more ACL injuries than males. There's 3 modifiable factors, meaning you can control and maybe prevent your next ACL injury or your daughter's ACL injury. And there are 3 things you just can't control. It's just anatomically. The things you can't control, unfortunately, women have a smaller ACL than a guy. The female's ACL is about 30% smaller and 30% weaker. Second thing that's probably the biggest factor I see all the time is this term called hyperlaxity, or being loose jointed. Our elbows hyperextend, our knees hyperextend. We can put our palms flat on the ground when we bend over to touch our toes. If you're loose jointed, you have a 4 to 5 times higher rate of tearing your ACL than if you're not loose jointed. Fortunately or unfortunately, women tend to be more loose jointed than guys. The third thing that you just can't control, women tend to be born a little bit more knock-kneed. And when you stand up, look down, if you can touch your knees, but your ankles can't touch together, then you're knock-kneed. If you can touch your ankles together, but your knees don't touch, then you're bow-legged. So the things you can't control, being knock-kneed, unfortunately, being loose-jointed, and just having a smaller ACL straight out of your upbringing. Let's talk real quickly about the things we can control. When we've done studies, and we've published on this, that women in their jumping and landing patterns, women tend to land more straight-legged. Probably has to do with just that knock-knee things and some of the other factors that we talked about, trying to protect it with the bony architecture. But landing straight-legged puts that ACL at much, much higher risk. It's already at tension. All it takes is a minor twist or a little more hyperextension. It will tear that ACL. The second factor that you can actually modify, we want the kneecap to go right over the second toe. So as you go into a more flexed position, just make sure your kneecap is going right over your second toe. It's easy to do. So the third factor, how does that come about? Why are we going into this dynamic valgus? Well, it has to do with weak gluteal muscles. You can change that. So your gluteal muscles are what help prevent that dynamic valgus or that knock-knee as you're diving down in. Those 3 things, if you can land a little more flexed position as you're flexing down, get your kneecaps over your second toe, and then preventatively really work not only on just quadriceps, because we all know get your quads and hamstrings strong before you go skiing, but every sport, work on your gluteal muscles as well. You're going to protect your knees a lot better having a balanced muscle attack at it. I hurt my knee today skiing. How do I know if it's bad enough that I need to go to the emergency room? Great question. When in doubt, you need to see somebody just for safety's sake. By and large, the injuries that are bad enough that you should be seen get very swollen very quickly. If you develop a whole bunch of swelling inside your knee within the first 2 hours after an injury, it's usually blood, and there's only about 3 things that can cause blood inside of a knee from an injury within the first couple hours. It's a fracture. So you could have a little fracture that's not bad enough that you had to get carted off, but a fracture will cause a bunch of bleeding inside your knee. The most common one we see is an ACL tear. ACL tears will bleed because there's a little blood vessel right inside the middle of the ligament there, and that will bleed. Fill up the knee with blood within the first 2 hours. By and large, if you heard a pop and it got swollen within the first 2 hours, and when you stood on it, it felt unstable, more than a 90%, closer to a 95% chance you tore your ACL. The third thing is that you could have dislocated your kneecap. If you dislocate your kneecap, you would probably know what you're dealing with. Feeling of instability, lots of swelling, and heard and felt a pop. Should probably get in, have it looked at. If not tonight, then tomorrow by one of the orthopedic surgeons in this valley. We've got a whole bunch of the best in the world. We really do. For whatever reason, for lots of great reasons, this small Vail Valley has become an orthopedic center of excellence for the world. Don't hesitate to come in and see any of us here. Everybody does a great job, and we'll take great care of you. What is an ACL? What does it do, and why do I even need it? I just happen to have brought a little knee model here, and this is a right knee. All the ligament is a band of tissue that connects one bone to another bone and crosses a joint. 4 ligaments about the knee, north, south, east, and west if you want to think about it, but the outer side is the smallest one. This is the LCL, or fibular collateral ligament, lateral collateral ligament. That stops us from doing that, obviously. This big one right here, we don't hear so much about it, but it's the most common one injured on that ski hill. This is the MCL, or medial collateral ligament. That stops us from doing too much of this. If you think about why it might be torn in sports, and especially skiing, because we're always loading up the inner side of the ski like that, and so we've constantly got the MCL on stretch. The biggest one in the knee is actually in the back of the knee that you don't hear so much about. It's called the posterior cruciate ligament. What that does, and you can see this hopefully on that camera, if I push the tibia, this is the tibia, this is the femur, push the tibia backwards, that's what stretches the PCL and tears it. On to the ACL, what you guys asked about. This is the ACL. Looks like a little benign, innocuous little ligament that connects the femur to the tibia. It's right in the center of the knee, goes at a little bit of an angle like that. We need the ACL to stop us from twisting. So the ACL is there. You go skiing, moguls, cutting, twisting in soccer, volleyball, anything else, and we twist like this, that ACL tightens up. There's no muscle to fire, but that tightening just brings us back to the center. You twist the other way, so you're going right, going left, going right, going left. ACL stops us from going too far forward. Well, once that ACL is torn, there's nothing to stop us. So now you can twist, 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 and watch how much twisting we can do without that ACL. You can actually dislocate the knee, and you're putting a lot of shear strain on this, the cushion cartilage. You can live without an ACL. There's nothing, you're not gonna hurt all the time or anything else. Your knee will feel normal. But living without an ACL and continuing to do all these sports just puts your knee at an astronomically high risk of chewing up that meniscus, which then you will be coming to see us with arthritis. We'd much rather see you to prevent that scenario rather than treat the scenario. Take care of your ACL, but if you tear it, that's what you're gonna do is put your meniscus and the cartilage at risk within the knee.
Hi, I'm Peggy Ziegler, fashion guru and stylist for the outlets at Silverthorne. I'm here to share with you an amazing place called the Colorado Welcome Center. We've got fabulous brochures on all the nearby places and towns and things to do right here while you're in Summit County and visiting the outlets at Silverthorne. And of course, pick up your Elite Savings Card booklet, offering you fabulous discounts and a rewards program too. See you soon.
Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery is kind of a one-stop shop. We have everything in-house.
We have cast techs, MRI machines, x-ray of course right at the clinic, physical therapy right at our clinic.
I'm going to get to the bottom of what your diagnosis is with all the resources we have, and that's what we do.
At My Future Pathways, our mission is to be the helping hand that enriches and elevates the lives of youth and families of our valley so they can reach their full potential. Through our holistic approach, our tutoring service and programming strengthen our community, develop self-worth, create opportunities, and promote values. We are My Future Pathways.
Welcome back to Vail Valley Live. I'm Tricia Swenson here in the Grand Hyatt Vail Studios, and we want to give you a look at what happened in today's Vail Daily. So grab your copy to kind of keep in touch with what is going on. But on the cover for Tuesday, the 4th of April, peeking through. Look at that. That's over, kind of looking from the western side of the Beaver Creek Mountain region, looking over towards the eastern hillside and the run. What a beautiful day out there, and more snow in the forecast. And then Fresh Fleet, Cleaner Future, Vailtown Council to take its first look at the electric vehicle readiness plan designed to decarbonize the town's transportation. More on this on page A3. And on Riverwatch, well, Riverwatch, the Eagle River Watershed Council collects samples from Brush Creek, and then the Eagle Valley High School students help with the testing. So kind of a great learning situation going on all around. That's on page A2. And then also the Vail Valley is set to see yet another spring storm. So we were talking about that today in the weather already. We're in a winter weather advisory going all the way until 9 p.m. tonight. Could see a couple more inches today. We did get 4 at both resorts in the last 24 hours. Vail and Beaver Creek picked up 4 new inches. But check that out. Most people want to be golfing, and that's not quite happening. Gypsum Creek not open yet. Neither is Eagle Ranch. But I know they're going to try to get open. Probably not on the 14th, 15th or so of April. Maybe a few days later. It all depends because you know what? It's going to be cold for the next couple of days, but then we'll see 50s by the weekend. Also, this week we're going to learn a little bit more about Cirque Flip Fabrique. They're presenting Muse at the Villar Performing Arts Center. It's a special stars performance will take place earlier in the afternoon on Wednesday for the kids, and then there's going to be a performance at 6:30 on Wednesday for a later show. But look at, yeah, anything from tutus to football uniforms will be seen at this show, but it's a great troupe out of Quebec City, Canada. So if you want to learn more about this, check this out in today's paper. And then also one more thing about Michaela Schifrin. Did you realize that she is still starstruck by her childhood skiing idol? That was Bodie Miller. And she says even to this day, she'll maybe say hi, maybe he's out on the ski slopes during a race. A lot of times he's in town for a lot of these races, and he'll come over and say hi, but she still is starstruck by him. Isn't that amazing? Here she is, the greatest of all time in the alpine skiing world, and she's still intimidated by Bodie Miller, who is the Americans' top male ski racer. But just kind of a fun little interview that we had with her on Sunday before she heads out to Europe. She's going back to a ski camp. She's going to be testing with Atomic, so she's got a lot of things to do. She had a couple of short days in Mexico to relax, but now she's back on snow, heading back over there this week. So grab your copy of today's Vail Daily, find these stories and more, and be able to get some details on what's happening around our valley and to stay connected with our community. As far as the roads are concerned, well, both Heather and I talked about this before the show started. It got a little dicey the closer we got to Vail. We both live in Edwards, and it was more wet and slushy, but it is snowpacked and icy. The commercial vehicle chain law is in effect for Vail Pass, and the passenger vehicle traction law is in effect for Vail Pass as well. So what that means is that truckers have to chain up and then take those chains off later on once they get to roads that are better. Passenger vehicle traction law, that means that you have to have adequate tires. They don't have to necessarily be snow tires, they can be all-season tires, but the tread on them needs to be sufficient because it can cause accidents and that causes delays that really can make a dangerous situation out there. So if you don't have good tires, I would not suggest that you try to head over Vail Pass right now. Looking over towards Officers Gulch, things look a little better down by that elevation. Eisenhower Tunnel looks just a little bit better as well. So that's a look at the roads for today. Slow it down. Keep in mind, this snow is going to continue throughout the day. There's going to be some blowing snow with it as well, so that could cause some drifting, cause some visibility issues, especially in the higher, more open areas. So plan accordingly and allow a little bit more extra time. So want to check in with the chat. We've got Paul Richards saying, hey, looks fantastic out there. Wish I was with you all in Vail. And then Rodney says, hey, it's been an iconic season for sure with 300 plus inches of snow. So thanks for chatting in with us, Paul and Rodney. If you want to chat in with us, you can simply do so by going on to Facebook or YouTube. You can chat with us live during our show, which is 7:30 to 8:30 Mountain Daylight Time. But let's bring in Heather now and find out where she is and if that snow has accumulated any more on her hair and your hood and everything. All right.
I know. It is actually slowing down just a smidge, and there's little peeking parts of blue kind of coming through. So it's interesting to watch everything kind of start to wake up. But I stopped here kind of in front of the covered bridge because right above that is a sign for something you were talking about earlier, which is the Wine and Food Festival this weekend.
Yes.
I don't know if you're planning to go. I don't actually have tickets to this yet, but it sounds like a super fun event. And I love how it's kind of on mountain in a lot of different of the activities.
Yes, a Taste of Vail has been going on for over 30 years and just been kind of a staple of springtime. And yeah, they do have things up on the mountain, in the streets of Vail, in some of the ballrooms and everything. And we kick it off. It's a multi-day event. And so on Wednesday is the debut of Rosé. So this is everything that was harvested and is being released right now. This will be from 3 to 6 p.m. in the lodge at Vail, which is kind of good it's inside because you saw the daytime high tomorrow tomorrow in the 20s.
That one looks a little cold.
Yeah, so we're happy to have that one. But this is going to be great. Anything from a semi-sweet, dry to a bone dry, very dry rosés. They're going to be starting that, and then the chefs, they will be making different food, just little dishes, little tastings. These are all little tastings that go well with rosé. So think barbecue, think sushi. Those sort of things will be paired with this tomorrow. Tickets still available for that. And then on Thursday, we're bringing things outside. And rain or shine, this does happen. Thursday, our weather starts to improve, but Fridays are a really nice day. But this will be again from 3 to 6, just in the streets of Vail. And it goes all the way, along the International Bridge in front of Solaris, in front of the Gore Creek Promenade, like right in that area. They're going to be doing, this is going to be pork. So Nyman Ranch is doing the Iberian Pork Challenge. And so the people get to vote, so it's people's choice, as well as the judges are voting too. And really neat to see what they come up with. They're all given the same amount of pork, and then they do whatever they want with the preparations. And then you can pay as you go. I think this is, if you are new
that's
to
nice.
the Taste of Vail, Heather, I think this is what you should do for sure, because you can just buy little tokens and, okay, I want to try this pork taco, or I want to try this pork slider. And then, I want to try this red wine, this Pinot Noir to go with it, kind of thing. And you can just walk along, pay as you go, and you actually get pretty full. It does turn out to be dinner if you want it to be. You get pretty full by the end, that when it's all done. So that's
When you said that's right by the river too, which the river looks gorgeous right now because it's all kind of melting and flowing, but there's those little pillows of snow. I think what a cool setting for your snacking along the river.
Yeah, so snack along the river. Make sure you make your little people's choice for this. And then on Friday, that's the really nice day, and this would be great for the afternoon, noon to 2:30 is when they do the Nyman Ranch Mountaintop Tasting. And Heather, they have like all these restaurants and all these wineries are bringing everything up the gondola. Okay, so they're making, they've done a lot of prep in the restaurants, but then they are going to be serving it up at 10,354 feet above sea level. So that is just a really cool event that's been a tradition. And a lot of times it is people's favorite. And it's noon to 2:30.
Yeah.
And that is a ticketed event. So you need to get that in advance. You'll give them the ticket. They'll give you the wristband. It's good to just get these kind of things done in advance, and then get in line. The line's a little long, getting ready for the gondola to get people up there, and then just eat your heart out. It's just a fun little thing to do. And then on Saturday, they've got the big grand tasting. So this will be back in the ballroom. This will be at the Hythe, which is the former Vail Mountain Marriott, just west of Lionshead. And this is kind of your more traditional wine tasting indoors with table after table after table. But you get to dress up a little bit, have some fun.
Yeah, this is my favorite part. Any event you get to dress up, that gets my attention.
Yes. So I think you for sure go to Thursday in the streets, and then you need to go to Saturday night so you can dress up. And, even though it's going to be a warm day on Saturday, so I think you could go with a real spring look on Saturday night.
Absolutely. Kind of introducing it, or make that transition. There wasn't a lot of snow in the forecast after this weekend, so maybe we'll start to see those kind of spring days. So perfect time. I love these gala events too. So you're kind of selling me on this.
I know. Okay, I'm selling you on this. And then a few more things that you can do during the day. They have a lot of seminars that take place throughout the week as well. And they've got a Asturia caviar seminar.
I have been to that one before, by the way, guys. The Asturia caviar. If you are less familiar with caviar, or you just want to learn a little bit more about how to appreciate it, they put on an excellent event. I did this one last year. And you're going to be a caviar aficionado before you know it. So that's a nice one.
And another one that I love doing is the Riedel Wine Glass Seminar. Okay.
Yes.
This is like a magic show because you cannot believe your taste buds. You'll try it in a certain type of glass, and then they have glasses out on the table, and then you pour it into the glass it was intended for, and then you pour it into a glass it
Yeah.
wasn't intended for, and you're like, oh my gosh, it tastes like a totally different wine. Like, it is such a game changer. I mean, it almost makes you never want to drink a Pinot not in a Pinot or a Chardonnay not in a Chardonnay glass. Not that we all can have that much glassware, but what's really cool about this is you get to keep the glasses. So you go
Yeah, that's
home
perfect.
with these glasses. So that's a must do. I love that one.
Oh, I agree with that. I did this years ago in another setting, and I 100% agree with you. And I always like to, and do they do this for you where they pour kind of a not great wine that you don't necessarily think much of? And when you try that in the correct glass, your mind is blown and you're going,
Yeah.
oh, so maybe it's not the wine. Maybe
Yeah.
it's actually what we're drinking it in. And
Yeah.
I do have quite the wine glassware collection because of this. Definitely, if you have never done this before, you need to check this out.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So it's so fun. So tickets, you can get like the signature pass, which kind of gives you the four big events. You could just go
Hmm.
seminar only if you have other things to do because there's so much going on this weekend.
I
We
know.
have we have Easter going on with all the brunches. Gypsum has their extravaganza happening on the 8th, Saturday, 12 to or 10 to noon. We've got all sorts of the brunches that are happening. We've got the Easter egg hunt going on also on Saturday from 10 until 11:30. That'll be at the Covered Bridge. And then we have all sorts of Easter brunches. I have Stoke and Rise here right now. And so what they're doing on the 9th, they're going to start it out early because if you want to get up on the ski hill early, that'll be at 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. But they're going to have all sorts of festive holiday classics, including honey glazed ham, prime rib, an omelet station, waffles, a whole lot more, plus a dessert
Yum.
bar. So that's kind of going on for, that'll be a fun thing to do. And so I'd get reservations for some of these. And then, of course, we've got so many different events happening with our area churches. And there is going to be a sunrise service up at Eagle's Nest this year. It kind
Oh,
of went away
beautiful.
during COVID, but, it's
Yeah.
back. And what you do is you load that lift at pretty much like 5:30 in the morning. And then the sunrise service starts at 6. It goes till about 7. It's non-denominational. They have a lot of different churches that are involved in this. It is packed, and people love it. And then the sun crests over the gore. He is risen.
Oh, wow.
It's just amazing. Helmut Fricker is usually out there playing Amazing Grace on the Alpenhorn when you leave.
Oh, wow.
It is really an experience. So I highly recommend that for everybody. It's an early morning, but it is so worth it if you want to get up and do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't get up quite as early, I also know Mountain Life Calvary Chapel is doing theirs at Fort Eagle Ranch. So if you still want the beautiful view of the mountains, but maybe not quite as early in the morning, that's another option if you're looking for a service this weekend.
That is true. They've got their service 9 a.m. and another one at 10:45, and that'll be, yes, like I said, lots of room
Yeah.
out at Four Eagle Ranch. They're doing a Good Friday service as well at 6:30, and that will be just at their location in Edwards. So a couple things going on, and then they've got prizes and candy going on with the Easter egg hunt. So that'll be following both services, either the 9 o'clock or the 10:45. So wow, Heather, a lot of things going on.
This
So
is
try
packed.
to pack it all. And I thought last weekend was busy. Like this weekend
I
is
know,
turning
me
out to
too.
be even busier. Okay, well, let's let you roam around. We're going to let you know about one more Easter celebration. It's here at the Grand Hyatt Vail, and we had a chance to talk to Carrie Clay. We're here at the Gessner Restaurant at the Grand Hyatt Vail. Joining me now, we have Carrie Clay, and she is their food and beverage director, and she's got some Easter happenings that she wants to tell us about. And Easter brunch is such a tradition, and you're doing a great job of having it timed well enough that we could either ski before or after. Tell us about
Absolutely.
this.
Well, what's better than brunch and ski and brunch? So we're gonna have Gessner's annual Easter buffet. It's gonna go from 11:30 to 4 on Sunday the 9th of April. Guests will be able to come in and make a choice. They can complimentary valet park, enjoy the mountain for a few hours, and then come down and enjoy our buffet, or vice versa. Eat some food and go burn it off afterwards.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a great buffet. Chefs put together a really wonderful menu for this year. I'm most excited for the carving station. It's gonna have a choice of leg of lamb, ham, or you're gonna have prime rib, which is always my personal favorite.
Yeah, kind of prime rib at Easter, or that ham is such a traditional thing. You're also gonna have anything from your grilled maki. We've got chicken and waffles.
Benedict.
I love the spring pea soup that's so, spring-like. And then anything from, the chilled fruit and berries. We got the pastries.
Of course.
And then your
the desserts.
Desserts, yes, save room for those. Those are looking good.
Yeah.
All sorts of homemade goodies.
It'll be $90 for the buffet. One of the things that I am also very excited for is the bottomless mimosas and sangria.
Oh, yeah, we're bringing these in. Okay, look at these. So this is nice. Just for $20 more, you can have these.
Limitless. Right, I know. And they're gonna have their own buffet area as well, so you can build your own. You can customize them. If you don't want a traditional mimosa, you can go more Bellini style. You can go poinsettia. We'll have white and red sangria as well. So for $20, have it all.
Yeah, I know. That's a great price to get a little alcoholic drink, or a few of them for that price. And then also throughout the day, you're going to have many different events and activities.
We are. So from 11 and on, we'll start an Easter egg hunt for the toddlers. About 11:15, we'll do it for the kids. The Easter Bunny's going to make a 2-hour appearance throughout the day, wandering around, taking all the fun photos. We'll also have Andy Cipher, our local musician here, for about 3 hours to perform during that time. And he's such a great asset to the hotel, so we love having him here.
Okay, and then if you're going to ski all day, you can come to Après Ski Easter.
There sure is. There will be an après special after Easter from 4 to 6 in our Fireside Lounge. We'll have food and drink specials during that time. Just such a great atmosphere, right? It's all about the family. How can you get together, sit back, relax, and enjoy?
Well, and especially the skiing is involved as well. So Tier 20 comes right down to the base of Grand Hyatt Vail. So complimentary valet parking, access to Tier 20. You're not worried about any parking in the village over the holiday weekend. So take advantage of this. How do we get reservations?
Reservations will be on opentable.com. You can just book through there. Large parties, we do require to call the hotel, so give us a call because we'd love to get you in.
Okay, perfect. All right, it's Easter Sunday. Brunch and ski and brunch, après, it's all here at Grand Hyatt Vail.
Join us every Tuesday at 6 p.m. and watch Vail Valley Latino. Our goal is to elevate the voices of the Latino community in the Eagle River Valley and provide a platform to speak with local businesses, organizations, entrepreneurs, creatives, and much more. Find the show on Facebook, YouTube, and Outside Television Channel 17. We are Vail Valley Latino.
All right, this weather is brought to you by the Grand Hyatt Vail, where our studios are located right now. But I want to give you a look at today's weather. We did get 4 inches of new snow on Vail and Beaver Creek. It's going to be a cooler day, though, today, but the wind is sticking around. 21 degrees right now outside of our studios. It's 9 degrees up on Beaver Creek and Vail Mountain. We'll be topping out into the low 30s for today and then dropping down in the teens overnight. Maybe 1 to 3, even 2 to 4 inches. We're still in a winter weather advisory until 9 p.m. We could see some blowing snow with that as well, because we're going to see the winds out of the west 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts as high as 30. So maybe not quite as windy as yesterday, but still it'll come into play. Maybe it'll make it feel a little bit colder as well. Now for tonight, snow showers still likely. Not a lot of accumulation out of this evening into tomorrow. And then tomorrow for your Wednesday, maybe a few snow showers, mainly after 12 noon. Some thunder is also possible. We call that thunder snow. Mostly cloudy with a high. Once again, we're still going to be in the 20s and low 30s, if anything. West wind will decrease a little bit, only about 10 miles per hour tomorrow as we see the storm kind of start to roll through. And then Wednesday night, we're going to drop down into the single digits. So, or just right around 10 degrees. And then for your Thursday, we start to see a change in the weather. Plenty of sunshine, a high in the 40s, but we're going to drop down to the single digits overnight. And then for Friday, sunny, a high near 51, 50, right around that mark, and then dropping down into the single digits once again. Saturday looks like we should at least see partly sunny skies, and for Easter Sunday, mostly sunny skies, and a high in the 50s. Now, any kind of snow totals we're going to get, this is kind of what we're looking at. So we could pick up maybe 5 by the time this system is all said and done. We did pick up 4 inches once again at Vail and Beaver Creek. So we're inching towards that seasonal average of 354 inches on Vail Mountain. I think we've got about 21 more inches to go. It would be really cool if we at least made that number to help kind of keep that average going for a little bit longer. But then we've got sunshine. Look at the next couple of days. As soon as we get to Friday, all the way through the middle of next week, we're going to see really no snow in the forecast. So that's good for the golf courses. I know a lot of people have been wondering when we're going to open up Gypsum Creek, Eagle Ranch, our Dow Valley courses. They've been plagued with quite a bit of snow, so we'll see. Maybe that sunshine can get those open by at least the middle of the month. I want to thank Grand Hyatt Vail for this weather and mountain report. Pay attention to the crawl at the bottom of the screen. This could be a good groomer day. You know, a couple inches of new snow on top. Depending on when it fell, you might see corduroy or you might see that fresh snow on top. But let's take a look at what's happening outside. Let's get a real feel for what it feels like out there. Heather is out there. Heather, how does it feel? Are you chilly? I know you've been out there for about, well, at least 40 minutes now.
Yeah, it's chilly this morning, but with layers, it's not too bad. And the sun is starting to peek out. I see some blue sky. The snow is definitely slowed down. I don't know if you guys can see. It's just these tiny little drifting snowflakes now. So we're starting to see a little bit of that change already. I bet it's going to come back and forth a little bit today with a little bit more snow kind of in the forecast as we go through.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know what? What's great is that, we've got this kind of mix. If you're here all week, you're going to experience it all. From the chilly, chilly temperatures to, boy, Friday, 50s by the afternoon, and even warmer by the time we get to the weekend. So I think we might see some costumes out there again this weekend. You know, I went skiing in Vail on Saturday, and usually you think, oh, Vail on a Saturday, long lift lines. Not at all. We had no lines wherever we went. I mean, we had a little bit of a line in 11, but that didn't even last very long. Because I think everybody was partying for Gaper Day, and they were up at like that deck between chair 11 and chair 5. They had costumes. There was like people in shorts, bikini tops. It wasn't that warm that day, people, but
I know.
Whatever.
I saw some of those pictures because we were at the Après Beer Festival, but I thought the same thing. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have been quite sleeveless yet, but I think people were very dedicated to the costumes.
Now, how was the Après Beer Festival? Tell us about that.
It was great. I mean, it was a perfect day for it, right? Like it was a little bit warmer. Again, not sleeveless warmer, but it was nice. And nice spread of different drinks. There was way more than beer there. I was actually quite impressed. So tons of seltzers. There was a whole wine spread and kind of that VIP area. Good food from I think it was Lauren's Catering. So
Okay.
it was a nice turnout, and the band was excellent. So if
Oh,
you
yeah.
kind of are a fan of 80s and 90s music, fantastic.
Did
So
you listen to both? Because Band Camp was going to be the first one, and they were playing
yep,
kind of the 70s rock and roll, and then Blink
yep,
90210 was going to be the 90s. So how fun.
absolutely. Oh, it was perfect. And like kind of the perfect kind of fun sing along kind of situation. And a lot of the snow had already melted in Avon. So it kind of had that nice spring feeling. And everybody was in a good mood. So it was
Yeah.
a really fun way to spend a Saturday afternoon. So much earlier than most outdoor events, especially kind of beer festivals. So that was kind of a neat thing to get to do.
Yeah, and you guys are right on Lake Street. This wasn't in Nottingham
Yes.
Park yet because I'm thinking,
No.
does Nottingham still have snow?
They definitely had a little bit. And I think just to protect, you don't necessarily want everybody trampling on the grass
Yeah.
when it's still a little frozen like that. So yeah, they really did. They just shut down Lake Street, used a little bit of the parking lot in front of the rec center. It was a great setup. Definitely something I would do again next year. I assume they will do a third annual.
Oh,
And
I
so
think so
it was a fun
too.
event.
I think so too. Now, one event that we've got going on this week. Well, hey, first of all, we're going to talk about the Valar right now. And
Yeah.
did you have tickets to KT Tunstall?
I did, and they got moved till August. It was kind of disappointing. Now, the cool thing about the new date in August is it's actually our wedding anniversary. So hey, our
What?
plans are made. So that kind of worked out nicely. But we were bummed that it got shifted. So
Okay, okay. Well, yes, we want to remind people the Wood Brothers is still on. That's going to be on the
yep.
14th, which will be next Friday. And one of those brothers is from Medeski Martin and Wood, a longtime band with a big following. And then, the brother is in there as well. So, Chris and Oliver Wood. So, Chris was the one that was in Medeski Martin and Wood. And then Oliver toured with Tinsley Ellis before releasing a dozen albums with his band King Johnson. And then their drummer is General Ricks. So they're adding to the mix, and that'll be 7 p.m. on Friday, April 14th. But okay, now one thing that's going on this week, we have Cirque Flip Fabrique. There's presenting Muse, and I just love, there's so much athleticism, but then they're so entertaining. There's comedy in there. It's usually a little storyline is weaved through here. So, have you ever seen any of these Cirque shows at the Valar?
Not at the Valar. I've been lucky to see them in a lot of other places, but I think at the Valar, as we always talk about here, it's very true. It's such an intimate theater. Seeing something like this with like the huge acrobatics all set up, I think could be quite amazing.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. And we had a chance to chat with one of their performers doing jump rope. So let's take a look at what that's all about. We're excited for this Wednesday, April 5th. We are bringing Cirque Flip Fabrique Muse to the Valar Performing Arts Center. And joining us now, we have Kata Bonhegi. She is one of their artists, and she's chiming in from Virginia, right? You guys are on the road?
Yes, we are on the road right now in Fairfax.
Okay, Fairfax, Virginia. Well, thank you for getting up with us today and letting us know about this performance and what's going to be coming to our area. And so Cirque Flip Fabrique, that's been around since 2011. I know you guys are based out of Quebec City, Canada, but you're one of the newer artists. Tell us how you got into this kind of business.
Well, I started my circus career 15 years ago, and I joined Flip last October for this specific show Muse. And I actually coming from sports. My background is jump rope competition, so I started with that since I was 6 years old, and then until I was 18, I did competitions. And then after that, Cirque du Soleil sent an email to the jump rope federations around the world. And we got interested with my sister, who does actually the same thing. And we sent our material to Montreal to the headquarters. And then I ended up joining one of their shows, which I was touring with for 10 years. And then that show ended in 2016, but I stayed in the circus world doing shorter contracts, events. And then eventually I got this show.
Okay, wait a minute. You're jump roping. I mean, this is an athletic endeavor. So, you're coming up to altitude. It's going to be a little
Yeah, we
higher
were
than.
told, yes.
Yeah, there might be some oxygen down backstage for you.
Yes, I mean, we're gonna be arriving on Monday, so at least I got a few days to adjust to the altitude. But I have performed in Mexico City and Bogota, which are also high altitude, and it was hard. Like I discovered. So hopefully in Beaver Creek it's gonna be a little bit easier.
Okay. Oh my
because
goodness.
jumping is really like a cardio workout on stage. Like it's a six-minute act more or less. And I'm doing the solo part of the number, but the other people from the group, they also participate. So it's kind of a group act as well, but we are non-stop jumping for 6 minutes.
Oh my gosh. Wow, that is going to be so fun to see. Okay, well, that alone is reason to come and check this out. But how cool that you made a career out of it. You're traveling the world, and just really neat that you're able to make this work and everything. What do you do in your spare time when you're not practicing jump roping or performing?
Well, I like sports in general, and I'm also a personal trainer, so it's kind of like my whole life. Training people, training myself, and I do this because I kind of love it, so I don't think about it only as a work thing. So I really enjoy, but I like to do, I'm really like a nature person. So I'm actually excited to go to Colorado because I love hiking and all these things. So I try to do a bit of that.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you some snowshoes. We still have quite a bit of snow out on the trails right now. But tell us a little bit about the rest of the show and the other performers. Who's doing what? We got some juggling, we've got all those rings and things. What are we gonna see?
In the show we have the aerial numbers as well, like trapeze, and we have which is very famous, like Flip Flopbrick is famous for this act because it's a trample wall number, like jumping on a trampoline onto a wall with different acro jumps. And then we have Diablo in the show, which is like a little plastic on a string that he does very cool tricks with it. Then we also have some comic numbers, and so it's a really nice evening entertainment option, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, and for people to see this on the Valar stage, it's a small 30 theater. It's about 500 seats, so it's going to be very intimate, and it should be really neat to be able to see this and to inspire the next generation. I think it's neat how Flip's one of the founders was talking about how when he was a kid, his mom said, "Stop running, stop jumping, stop doing this." But I think you're just built to move and built to entertain. What do you love best about being in front of a crowd, or even maybe getting to meet some of the people afterwards?
I mean, it's always fun to travel and meet different people because every state, or in the US, every state or every country in other places, the public reacts in a different way. So it's always fun to experience that. And with Flip, we are doing smaller theaters. So it's, as you said, it's very intimate. So we can feel the connection between the public and us on the stage. So I really like that to perform for a smaller audience, because with Cirque du Soleil it was always in the tent or in bigger arenas, which is now different. And it's really nice for us to get the feedback also from the public. Like, it helps us when we see that they enjoy the show. So we had really nice audiences in the US actually until now, and in Canada as well. So it's always fun to meet people, and then sometimes we do Q&As after the shows, which is always a fun way to interact with the audience. So they get to ask any sort of questions, like how we train, how the creation process was going, how we got into circus, and all that kind of thing. So it's always fun to interact with people.
Okay, well, we're excited to have you coming to town. Tickets are still available for this. It is April 5th on a Wednesday night, and tickets start at 45. We also have a child and student ticket, a ticket 4-pack, so a lot of different options for you. 6:30 p.m., so it's a little earlier, so the kids can get back to bed and everything. But where do you go after Virginia? Where will you be between now and Colorado?
That's our next city. Colorado
Okay.
is our next one. So we're gonna be in Virginia until Monday, and then we fly to Beaver Creek.
Okay, all right. Well, we look forward to seeing you. Thank you, Kanta, for your time today, and good luck with the show in Virginia, and we will see you in Beaver Creek soon. So once again, for more information on this, you can go to Valar Performing Arts Center's website at valarpac.org.
We believe in the power of a live performance. We believe in making memories together. Join us as we celebrate 25 years of making moments that last a lifetime. Bringing concerts, comedy, Broadway, classical, dance, and family entertainment in the heart of the Rocky Mountains in Beaver Creek Village. View the full lineup and get tickets today at villarpac.org.
Moet Vending for life's spontaneous, festive moments. Celebrate at the Grand Hyatt Vail.
Welcome to Nap Harvest. We are showcasing healthy habits, and you can start right here feeding your family healthy organic vegetables and fruits that are seasonal and local. They're all the way from Arizona with our wonderful, beautiful citrus fruits that we sneak across the border for. But don't forget our nap mushrooms, grown at 9,000 feet. Mushrooms are chock full of benefits for you. And then also the microgreens, also chock full of vitamins. Come see us at Nap Harvest in Eagle Ranch on Sylvan Lake Road next to Color Coffee. We're open 7 days a week, Monday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturdays and Sundays, 10 to 4.
This Weather and Mountain Report is brought to you by Vail Summit Orthopedics and Neurosurgery, keeping you active. We are back. I want to let you know about the weather before we let you go for your day. And we're seeing a little bit of blue sky this morning. So kind of a mixed bag this morning as we see this storm start to kind of fizzle out. We are in a winter weather advisory through the end of today. About 9 p.m. is when that's going to taper off. So we could see some more snow today, maybe 1 to 3, maybe 2 to 4, kind of depending on which model you're looking at. We will have some gusty winds. It won't be quite as windy as yesterday, but we're looking at a west wind 15 to 25 miles per hour and then gusting to as much as 30 miles per hour. Now, at daytime highs today, it is going to be cooler. We're only going to be into the low 30s, and then we'll drop down into the teens overnight and even the single digits in some locations. Tomorrow, same kind of thing. We're only going to be in the mid to upper 20s and low 30s. We could see some more of that cloud cover and a few showers, not a lot of accumulation, maybe 1 to 2 inches possible through your Wednesday, and then Wednesday night dropping down into the teens and even the single digits. Now by Thursday, this is when we're going to see the breakout of the sunshine, high of 40 degrees. Overnight low is dropping down once again, so we'll get cool quite a bit overnight. And then for Friday, sunny with a high near 50 degrees, but then cool overnight. And then Saturday, we just keep on inching up in temperatures. Saturday in the low 50s, by Sunday, the mid 50s. So it's going to be quite a change. So just hold on. If you can handle today and get through today with because of the wind chill factor, the cooler temperatures, the cloud cover, we're going to get you some sunshine by the end of the week. 4 inches of new snow at Vail and Beaver Creek in the last 24 hours. And then if we add things up through the next couple of days, we could see another 5 at both resorts, just depending on how things flow and if the storm does stick around. So be careful out there on the roads. They were a little icy this morning, and the sun is going to help melt some things off. I can see the sun out the window of our Grand Hyatt studio right now. That'll improve things greatly. But earlier today, we had the passenger traction law in effect for Vail Pass, as well as the chain law for commercial vehicles. So if you are traveling over to Summit County today or going down to Denver to the airport, do keep in mind it may take you a little bit longer, especially if we see the snow come back in, and that will start the cycle all over again. But let's take it out to Heather and see if she's seen any of the sunshine that we're having just west of Lionshead. She's in Vail Village. Yeah, I could see things breaking up a little bit. We'll see how long that lasts.
Definitely. Yeah, little blue patches, still some clouds, and I don't know if you can see this beautiful powder behind me, but if you are a powder person, again, a little bit more than I keep expecting everywhere I go this morning.
Yeah.
Lifts are running, so there's no line if you want to get out and kind of enjoy this a little bit to start the day. As you said, the season's kind of winding down, so there's only a few more of these left.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? We've got more things to talk about. So we mentioned the Cirque Fabrique tomorrow with Muse at the Villar. Well, if you want comedy, we got 3 nights of it, and it starts tonight. Okay, so April 4th, we're moving things down to Moe's and Eagle. And this is going to be Eddie Ift, and he has been called one of the most underrated comics in America by The Onion, a super funny publication. But he's proudly told jokes around the world to sold out crowds in over 15 countries. Most recently, Eddie is been the co-host of one of the most successful podcasts in the comedy world called Talking Schmay. I'll just say Schmay. I won't say the real word, but talking stuff, and he's released a DVD. He's live from Australia. He's got some funny things going on, maybe a little bit more on the adult comedy side. I wouldn't take the kids to this one, but this will be tonight at 8 p.m. Down at Grand Avenue, where Moe's Barbecue is, right there in Grand Avenue in Elm Eagle. But then he comes up Valley. He's going to be at Chasing Rabbits on Wednesday. And then he's going to be part of the Vail Comedy Show at Shakedown Bar on Thursday. So 3 nights of Eddie. So maybe you'll go to all nights. Maybe you'll just go to one, depending on where you are. But it's nice to know that we've got the Vail Comedy Show providing comedy up Valley and down Valley. It's just kind of a nice way to round out all of our entertainment. We've got so many great musical performances and all the opera ski music. And then with Cirque Flip Fabrique coming. But comedy, there's always room for a little more laughter.
Completely, yeah. There's so much always going on. And hey, one extra little plug for myself is tonight, if you want something a little different, yoga, we have a full moon restorative yoga and sound bath tonight. So that'll be in Minturn, Anahata at 6:30. There was still just a few tickets left when I checked this morning. So if you're interested, definitely check that out. You can go to my website, fitaspire.com. Or find me on Instagram. But yeah, there's a million different ways that you can enjoy this week, right? I think we talked about circus and music and comedy and yoga. There's so many different ways. Packed week for sure.
Yeah, it is a packed week for sure. Maybe you need a little sound bath, some yoga tonight, something calm. No, tell us a little bit about the sound bath. How many? Is it the bowls? Is it the gong? What instruments? So
all the things. So there's 2 of us that will be facilitating tonight. So I think in total we'll have, if I'm counting this right, 11 different crystal bowls. We'll have a gong. We have lots of kind of rain instruments, chimes, all the things. So it's a really special thing. Even if you've only been to the sound baths, which are also lovely, that just have the bowls, think about this times 10 to really expand it out. And when you have 2 people, that means somebody can always be playing, even while we guide you through some restorative or more restful postures. You don't need any experience. Just come in comfy clothing. It doesn't even have to be yoga clothes. It's a really nice way to kind of wind down the evening. And with the full moon, it's a great way to kind of set those intentions and kind of clear things out.
Oh yeah, and you know what? Just going to Minturn too. Maybe you could do that and then go to dinner at some of the great little restaurants
Yeah.
they have in that town. So, all right, okay. So, just more things to do. Well, you know what? It's time that we wrap it up. I want to thank our viewers today for chiming in today. I know that Paul was watching from the UK. Rodney was watching as well. So we're glad to have your comments on the show. And wow, we covered a lot. And we got more to cover tomorrow. So we will see you all tomorrow at 7:30 to 8:30 live. But if you didn't catch all the show, you can watch us. You can watch the, on demand. We're always on YouTube and Facebook. Just type in Vail Valley Live. Thanks, Heather. Thanks for working hard today out there.
Absolutely. Everybody have a wonderful day.